Hello, ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with another E3 recap. So, just finished watching the SONY conference. Started off really awesome. They're in a fantastic theater, fantastic auditorium, and they went all out with a full orchestra, like an orchestra in the orchestra pit, and did music for everything. That was impressive. That was a good start. I'm gonna go through all of the things and give a couple of thoughts on them. First off, like I said, they had an orchestra. They start off with some music, and that led into their first trailer, which was God of War, which they had, a lot. They had gameplay footage of it. I don't know if it's in-game or if it was pre-rendered. It was hard to say. It looked impressive. Kind of figured there was going to be a Norse God of War. Like, there've been a lot of rumors and hints about that coming up. So, I mean, not at all surprised. Very surprised in the gameplay itself. It's not your traditional God of War game. It looks more like God of War, like Skyrim. It's got more to it. It's very different than the previous God of War game. So, something new, something different. Followed up that with Days Gone, which they showed off gameplay footage at the end of the conference. So this is another one of those they kind of loop back to. Biker post-apocalyptic zombie game. It's interesting. You're a biker character and you're dealing with hordes of zombies. This is like World War Z the movie type number of zombies. It was impressive, the number of zombies they had on screen that were just kind of hoarding their way toward you to devour your flesh. So that was the thing. Then they followed up with Last Guardian, and it has a release date now, so we can finally stop waiting for that. It'll be, I believe they said it was this October. So that's going to be fun. What else? What do we move into next? Horizon Zero Dawn. They have already sold me on this game. They sold me on this game last year, and probably like the year before that. I forget when the first trailer for this came out. So I'm already sold on this game. I don't need to see any more. It's got giant robot animals, and you take them down with like super bow and arrow. I was sold on this beforehand, so really excited for that one. Detroit: Become Human. This was kind of a trippy trailer about a cyborg rescuing a girl from a hostage situation, and it played out very much reminded me of Fox had a show called Almost Human, in which you had Carl Urban partnered with a cyborg detective, or robot detective, I forget which. It was, I forget the terminology because Dragon Ball Z has destroyed me for that. So, but very similar to this in that instance, the whole robot cop angle for it, and the multiple paths the multiple outcomes that seemed to happen was really interesting. So, yay for that. It was something different, very different. Then they had Resident Evil 7, and this did not look like a Resident Evil game. I'm sitting here watching this with, a whole bunch. Like, there were several people that I was interacting with online watching it, and just everyone's like, no, this has got to be like maybe it's Silent Hill. Maybe they were able to bring that, or what's the game? Outlast. Another Outlast game, something like that. It looked more, of the current gen, like jump scare thriller type game than Resident Evil. Resident Evil's always seemed a little militant to me because you walk around with guns shooting zombies. This was very much not that trailer, so that was really out of left field to see Resident Evil. That was different. Then they talked about PlayStation VR. They talked a lot about PlayStation VR. First off, it's going to come out in October. It has a price point of $400, which is not terrible for VR. Like, there's more expensive VR alternatives. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that. And then they showed off a bunch of games for the PlayStation VR. Farpoint, Star Wars VR, Batman Arkham VR, Final Fantasy 15 VR experience. So, like, there was a lot of VR. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited about the Star Wars one. I don't think Final Fantasy 15 needed it, but Star Wars, I'm like, I kind of want to play this. Like, the 5-year-old in me is like, I've been waiting for this forever. So, everything else, VR seemed like I could take it or leave it. But And then there was a bunch of Call of Duty. We've got Call of Duty in the future, and we've got Call of Duty in the past coming back for a remake. So 2 Call of Duty games they showed off. The first one in space looked kind of neat. I didn't think that was a Call of Duty game when watching it. Again, it was another... The name didn't quite match my expectations for the trailer. So that was a thing. Then they announced Crash Bandicoot remakes, and I'm kind of excited about that. I like the original Crash Bandicoot games. They're doing HD remakes, but they didn't show the HD remakes. They showed Crash Bandicoot and Skylanders. A little disappointed that I would have liked to have seen what they're doing with the HD remakes to get a feel for it. So that little disappointed that they announced it and didn't show it, and then they showed the Skylanders. But then the next part was Crash Bandicoot and Skylanders. And then they had Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, which looked adorable, but it's another Lego game. Like, there are so many of them. It's getting a little silly. But it did look adorable, but at this point, if it's not adorable, it's not a Lego game. So, that's... then they had Death Stranding, which was the Kojima Productions game, and they walked Kojima out, and it's like, I'm free, I'm back, here's a game, and the best part about it was everything they were showing is like, this is in-game. This is what's going to be, like... Granted, what they showed made zero sense. It was beyond confusing. It looked amazing, but I walked away with more questions than answers. So, but they've got it, and they had something to show in-game, which was really impressive, given, just how long Kojima has been out from Konami. So, that was kind of impressive. And then they showed off Spider-Man, which looked... If it plays anything like Spider-Man on the PS1, Spider-Man 1 and 2, that's just amazing, because those games were so good, so much fun. It looks like they're trying, because a Spider-Man game is really going to be hit or miss. Going to be just left or right. So that's either good or bad. And that was it. That was the experience. It felt short. It was only about an hour and 15 minutes, give or take, from the starting point. And like I said, the first couple of minutes of that was the orchestra leading into God of War. So it was a very, very short conference. And a lot of things I felt were missing from it. They did a montage at the end showing off a whole bunch of indie titles, but they didn't talk about the indie titles. So I'm just wondering what happened. Like, it felt like there was, like, it really felt like a bunch of stuff just wasn't there. Like, last year, Sony just kind of came out swinging, and this year it felt like they just kind of walked in, dropped some stuff on the table, this is what we got. So, I don't know. Maybe once the VR comes out, or a couple months down the line, because we already know they're working on the PlayStation Neo, so maybe they'll have another, like, separate conference, because when the last gen consoles came out, when the PS4 and the Xbox One were announced, they had major announcements before E3. So maybe at this point, once the Neo's a little bit closer to being shown off, they'll have more, like, hey, this is PlayStation exclusive stuff that's going to be on the Neo and PS4, because I get the feeling they're pulling a Microsoft with this one. They're doing, like, everything on the PS4 can be played on the Neo as well, just there might be some Neo exclusive content. So, I don't know. It felt kind of light to me. Kind of, not bare bones, but there wasn't enough meat on the bones. So, but that was the Sony experience. And last up, we've got tomorrow, we'll have Nintendo's Treehouse Direct thing. So I'll watch that and do the same. I'll post notes, see what they actually talk about, and then give some thoughts on the conference itself. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the last bit of E3, and then I'll probably do some E3 wrap-up things once everything's been shown off on the floor. So probably get a couple more videos out of this for the E3 coverage. I don't know. It really depends on how things are shown on the floor, what other trailers are announced, because there's always going to be some trailers that don't quite make it. And we've got several things that are not done. They don't have, floor shows, but they do have booths. So you've got like Capcom, you've got Konami, Sega. You've got a lot of companies that don't have, and Square Enix this year does not have a presentation, but they are going to be there. So I imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of trailers released for content. So we'll talk about it. give thoughts, opinions, see where to go. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for Nintendo. Till then, later everyone.